You can't force it. I think there gets to a point when you become so lonely or so alone to where you lower your standards for everything or push yourself to do things because you think it's your only chance. A few months ago, I was talking to a girl and had the impression that she wanted to do stuff together, and I didn't. But I think my headspace was so messed up that I thought if I don't ask now and do something, right now, I'm not going to have that chance again. And it took me a week or so of me thinking about it and realizing that I had done what I did for the reason was that I was just very lonely, and I still want to date, um, but I had to cut it off after that because I didn't want to keep pursuing something that I wasn't invested in or would have had to fake investment in because it's not nice to the other person, and it's definitely not nice to yourself. Um, and I think people do this because when you're lonely, your brain lies to you. It tells you that any relationship is better than no relationship. That if someone shows a little bit of interest, you should you know grab onto it before it's gone, um, and you end up forcing things. It's replying when you don't want to, going on dates you're not excited about, and in my case, um, and you're ignoring that feeling uh, because you don't want to end up alone again. You're not even thinking, do I like this person? It's more that they showed you something that you haven't received in a while or haven't picked up on in a while. Uh, but you don't want something like this to end. You don't want to slip away. Um, and I think these relationships, it's not going to distract you from loneliness. I think there's a saying, you don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. And I think it's the same thing with these relationships. You're not going to fix your uh, previous problems just because you start going out with somebody. And this is true not just for being lonely. This is true for all of your problems. They're not going to suddenly fall away just because you're spending time with one person proportionally more than you were before. They just kind of distract you from it, but they're still there. And I think if you start going down that path and it doesn't end well, and things start to feel off, and when they pull away and they stop replying, I think the loneliness is going to hit even harder. Now you're lonely and stressed. You're lonely and you're overthinking everything you said, which, for someone like me, why overthinking is a thing I constantly do, it would probably be made even worse. I'm an absolutely terrible texter just because I don't know what exactly is the right thing to say. So I usually just don't. Um, and being lonely or being the way you are right now, it doesn't mean you need to find a partner right away. You shouldn't lower your standards or rush into something just because you think you might not get another chance, uh, or you don't want to feel this way for another second. But it is fleeting. It is a very fleeting feeling, and I think if you realize that in the relationship, it's going to end even worse. And it's not fair to the other person, and it's not fair to you. Um, so that's all I have for today after the long weekend that I was away. I appreciate everyone for viewing the other videos. Um, Very surprising. Even though this is not very big, it's still like really nice to see this. So I'm gonna keep at it for as long as I can. Hopefully, I don't run out of ideas, and hopefully, I continue getting better and better at talking to this. But for anyone who is feeling lonely or like they're missing out on a relationship or they are not good enough for one, don't lower your standards. Don't rush into something. It may take longer than you'd like. And like I said before, there's not going to be like some plan for you, but uh, it may take longer than you think, and may be harder for you to realize that. But I think once you keep trying, once you're ready to try, once you actively start pursuing something because you want to, I think you'll have a lot more success than pushing yourself to get into something that your body isn't ready for. That's all I have for today. So everyone have a great night. Uh, have a good day tomorrow, and whenever you see this. So, bye.